So take us back. Take us back to the beginning of your run with Madonna. Like, take us to the first time you noticed her.
Well, I mean, I guess I was in high school, and she was just all of a sudden she was just everywhere. She was just everywhere, and I remember like trying to find stuff to read about her, and like I remember reading an article in Spin magazine that was like the ever elusive Madonna. Is that crazy? That at the beginning of her career she was like hard to get for an interview. The ever elusive. She changed that. But yeah, and I think about it a lot because it was the first time sort of like this overt sexuality was like everywhere. You know, it really just exploded, I guess, with MTV and everything. And I remember hearing a comedian that we both know saying that the reason that she did so much sex comedy was because nobody's really talking openly about it. And I kept thinking, well, are you kidding me? Madonna, like, you know, it's so crazy to not give her the props of that.
Yeah. I mean, everything she's been known about has been like pushing the boundaries. And I mean, even just her rolling around on stage at the MTV Music Awards in the wedding dress for Like a Virgin is like this iconic clip. It's like everything she does is big.
Yes.
Even Dick Tracy.
Yes. Yes. She loves attention. But then, like you said, she's not a great singer or whatever. But I feel like with so many artists that are like important and great, it's like that thing is the smallest part of it.
100%.
Yeah. Like even comedians, it's like it's not really like the guy who's got the most punchlines. It's something bigger than that. You know, it's what people hang on to is like this whole like personality.
Yeah. So you see her. No, I completely agree. So you see her in high school, and I mean, does it become an obsession? Is it just like I just, you know, take me through that? I mean, because I can only assume it's like, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, the first time I did stand up, I wore something that I saw her wear on David Letterman. So she was wearing like, it's so funny because right now this is the look. She was wearing bike shorts and a t-shirt and Doc Martens. And that's what I wore the first time I did stand up. Like that's how ingrained in me she was. It was like, well, if Madonna is wearing it, I guess it's like fine and cool.
Do you own the Desperately Seeking Susan jacket?
No. But I watched the movie. I mean, like that was like a tiny independent movie that everybody saw.
Oh my God.
She made that movie before she got famous. Like she got famous while she was making that movie.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like you only noticed from in my experience, Madonna has just always been famous. You know, I mean, as she's blowing up, I'm in my 8, 9, 10 years old. And like everything I remember about my childhood in music had Madonna in it. I mean, I feel like she already had a greatest hits album by the time I was 10.
Right.
And she was already doing stuff that like acting and dating Sean Penn. It was just everything about her was on this huge scale that I don't think any artist since has even come across. Because I always say this, it's like I'll never understand how big the Beatles actually were, nor will I really understand how subversive and how groundbreaking Madonna was when she first dropped, because
celebrities aren't like that anymore.
Not at all.
It's like in your pocket. Like you could binge a show, you know, and then you're like, oh my God, these are my favorite people in the world. And then I didn't see the show and they could be sitting right next to me at lunch and I wouldn't have any clue about them. It's like, or my daughter would see a YouTuber that she would be like flipping out over. I would have no idea who it is. It's like everybody's got their own little pocket now. There's very few people anymore that like everyone knows who that is.
Yeah.
You know, and like the Beatles, Madonna, Michael Jackson, like those days are over where it's like, you know, everyone, like my dad would know who that is.
My dad would know who Drake is. My dad would know, he would know Drake. Drake's huge. Drake's like Chipotle. He's everywhere. You know, but Madonna, like, I mean, I just remember there was like some of my first, like, you know, like teenage masturbatory experiences were like that one song where she's like with the bullfighter. Do you know what I'm talking about? The music video,
No.
You know, I've always been in love with you. Oh my God. And she's wearing those like 1950s like stockings with the thing. And it's just the hottest thing ever. And I remember the sex book. I remember.
Yeah, the sex book was the most provocative thing ever. Like no celebrity was talking about their sex life, or that was like Instagram before Instagram.
Yeah, dude. Like yeah, she'd be selling a fit tee right now if, yes. if that came out now. She'd be doing TikTok dances. Right. I actually saw Madonna at a Black Lives Matter rally in downtown LA. She was on crutches. She was standing. I have pictures of this. She's standing right next to me, and she is like 5 foot.
I know.
She is so small. Mm-hmm. So small. And
I saw her in the Village once. Yeah.
Oh, really? She's still beautiful. Like she still has this thing where it's just like I couldn't stop looking at her because of everything that I know about her and just all the history with her. It was like I was so like attracted, and she was just standing there, just this tiny little Italian girl. So what about this record in particular? Like, how old were you when this record came out, and like how did this?
Well, I was living in Los Angeles, and I was a comedian, and it was like, you know, ramping up to Y2K. And I feel like she sort of was like, everyone was just crazy. I mean, maybe it was just me. I mean, we were drinking and fucking doing drugs and having sex with everyone. And then she was like, no, now we're going to go spiritual, you know, now we're going to like try to have some inner peace. And it was like kind of like so of the moment, like it was so necessary at that time, you know. That's why that album just blew up, because I think people were like, oh my God, like Y2K is coming. And do you remember, I don't know how old you were when Y2K was coming, but it was like such a huge deal. Like we thought the world was going to end.
I remember.
You're buying things for your computers so that, because everybody thought that all the computers were going to go somehow, like, you know, crash. Everything was going to crash.
Everything was going to crash. I was at a party, and like right when it hit midnight, my friend cut the power in his house, and everybody was like, "Oh!"
Yes.
Knocked the Coke over. We're like, there's like, wait, and it came back on. We're like, "Oh, wait, we're fine. All right, can we pick off this little Coke nugget off the rug?"
I don't remember what city I was in, but we were walking down the street, and at midnight, one of the like, you know, like power lines flew off and started like, you know, like a flying around the street, and we were like, "This is it! It's happening!"
This is the end of the world.
Just like a fluke thing. Yeah.
So how does this album stack compared to all of Madonna's other records, like to you?
Well, when you, it's so funny because I was just like, my friend and I were working out, and we started listening to old Madonna, and they seem so innocent now. It's so weird that they were at the time, you know, like what's the one, Papa Don't Preach? It's like she's saying, I'm keeping the baby. Like it's like, what were we doing in the 80s that it was like, no, you're having an abortion.
Yeah.
No, I'm keeping, Mom, Dad, I'm keeping the baby. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's just. It's like,
will you be my third trimester? Yes. Because ski do.
Like we've gone backwards or something.
Well, this was Madonna, in my opinion, because what I love about her and what I love about so many other musicians like Radiohead and Miles Davis and even the Beatles, because the Beatles that's their whole career, is they started with one style of music, and then as the times changed, they started to kind of, you know, follow along with whatever the trend is. And a lot of the times we're at the forefront of it. And Madonna always did that. And she noticed that dance music and the rave culture was kind of taking over. And like you mentioned, she was getting spiritual with Kabbalah, which I know Morty is about to go into all of this, but this is her, you know, it's not her just trying to do dance music because everybody's doing dance music. It's just, you know, that's where the culture was at the time. And that's why I think Madonna is so great. I don't think there's any way to dislike this record. I don't think there's any songs on it that really just stink. They all kind of flow together.
Yeah, it really is a cohesive album.
Totally. Very cohesive. You know, Morty, why don't you tell us about a little bit about Madonna to get us to where we are?
Released on February 22nd, 1998 on Maverick and Warner Brothers Records and produced by Madonna, William Orbit, Patrick Leonard, and Marius DeVries. This is the 7th studio album by the inarguable queen of pop. Now, Madonna Louise Ciccone grew up in Pontiac, Michigan in the late 50s and early 60s. The third of 6 children in a devout Catholic family, and the first girl, she utilized her femininity to get her way and learned to carry the weight of being the middle child. While her mom was pregnant with her younger sister, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And due to the delayed treatment, she deteriorated quickly and died when Madonna was only 5. This comes up later. Only a few years after that, her father married their housekeeper, and her new stepmother's strict rules and insistence that she take care of her younger siblings, combined with a resentment at her father for moving on, saw her rebelling from them and her childhood Catholic faith. That includes dressing provocatively and frequenting underground gay dance clubs. She's also a high-achieving perfectionist, straight-A student, cheerleader, and aspiring professional dancer. After graduating high school a semester early, she received a full scholarship to the University of Michigan dance program, was soon studying with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in New York City. After a short time in Paris as a member of a disco revue, she's back in New York performing with different rock bands as a vocalist, percussionist, and drummer. Now, after combining her love of singing and performing, she goes solo. She gets signed to Sire Records, and she starts having almost immediate dance club success. By 83, she'd become a phenomenon like you were talking about. She's a style icon. She's an idol to millions of adoring young fans, along with her contemporaries, including Prince and Michael Jackson. By the way, they're all born in 1958.
So when is she?
They are?
They're all literally born within like a month and a half of each other.
Oh,
wow.
Something was in the water back
then. Oh my God, aliens.
I always thought of her as being like so much younger than them.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, literally when she came up at the same time, Michael Jackson, they were all the same age.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting, man. That's like weird stuff.
Yeah. And so along with that, she becomes, as you were talking about, this lightning rod of controversy, boundary pushing, and it's mostly due to her freedom and this joy of sexual expression. Very free about it. Over the next decade, she diversifies into film, photography, literature. She remains one of the biggest and most famous pop stars in the world, in large part due to the constant reinvention of her image and early adoption of soon-to-be popular trends, often inspired by gay culture. So after the success of her 1994 album Bedtime Stories, her life changed immeasurably. In 96, she had her first child, daughter Lourdes Leon, and starred in the long-anticipated musical film Evita. With these achievements and her enthusiastic studying of East Asian disciplines like Hinduism and yoga and the ancient Jewish mysticism of the Kabbalah, she gained a new perspective of a world outside of herself. These newfound passions would influence her final album of the millennium. Though she started making the record with Babyface, who'd done the last album, she decided she wanted yet another reinvention. She explained, "I wanted it to sound old and new at the same time." She was introduced to experimental British producer William Orbit, and they merged his modern sonic capabilities with her pop sensibilities and newly strengthened and confident vocals. She co-wrote 4 songs with her successful True Blue and Like a Prayer era collaborator Patrick Leonard, added 3 more with hitmaker Rick Knowles. The album took 4 months to make, but it was well worth it. Along with being credited with bringing the nascent electronica sound to the masses, it went to #1 in many countries, gave Madonna her first debuting #1 single in the UK, and sold more than 16 million copies. It went on to win 4 of its 6 Grammy nominations, including Best Pop Album and Best Dance Recording, and earned 6 more wins at that year's MTV Video Music Awards. With almost 4 decades of success, an incalculable influence on popular culture, and sales of over, which is ridiculous, 300 million records worldwide, Madonna is certified. She's certified as the best-selling female recording artist of all time by the Guinness World Records. Finn.
Wow. Really?
Do you know the story about that Knowles guy, the writer? He saw her at Barney's, and then he, what?
No, go ahead. Tell the story.
Oh, no, he saw her at Barney. I just think it's such a funny, like, show busy story. Like, he's shopping at Barney's and he sees Madonna and he goes running over to her and he's like, "Hey, I'm a songwriter. I wrote Celine Dion's latest hit or whatever." And she was like, "Oh, I like that song." And then he wrote her like 3 songs or 4 songs or something.
Oh, really? Did he write her Hung Up? Because that is my favorite Madonna song. Every little thing that you say you'll do, I'm hung up. The music video is so dope.
I don't know what songs that he wrote for her.
Oh, well.
I'm sorry.
You know, no, it's all right. Well, that's the end of the podcast, guys. We're done. This is a crock of shit. All right, let's get into the record.
Wait, I wanted to say something else though about like people whose mom died young. Like they do have some weird drive, you know, to like have people know who they are or something. It's like your mom sees you. So then when your mom dies when you're young, it's like you need someone to see you, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a phenomenon that happens all the time.
I mean, everything I've seen about Madonna pre her, you know, being a star, I mean, she had that thing and she was a very interesting, beautiful, sexy, you know, looking girl. And I think it's like, you know, just even the dressing, the style, it's all just kind of like a perfect like mold into who she is. And she was always doing stuff prior to everybody else doing it. And I don't know if she's like seeing it in some club and then she's just taking that and doing, and, you know, and bringing it to the masses. But she did a great job of staying relevant. She's
like hands-on, very, you know, specific, very controlling in a way of like everything that she does. So I'm assuming that she's always been like that. That she's.
Have you seen any of those weird like Instagram videos she's been doing recently? Yes. Where she's taking like milk baths and.
Yes.
I mean,
she still just absolutely loves being in the limelight. Like regardless.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Like, so I always think like once you're famous and it's got to be such a grind at some point, like when you want to just kind of like slowly sort of fade out, just keep the rich part of it, maybe not so much the fame part of it. Yeah. But it isn't, I mean, she films everything she does still.
Imagine Bonnie, imagine what that would be like to be the hottest thing on planet Earth, where every magazine's writing up about you and every relationship that you're in is in the tabloids and everything. And then one day you're 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go from being the biggest thing and then it's just music changes and you start, you know, like, I mean, I feel like she's not, I'm not saying she's losing it, but she's
right. Like,
now.
It's like, like she never figured out how to kind of just like live a normal life. So she's still, this is the only tool that she has is being famous.
I mean, I bet she still hits on like 25-year-old guys.
Her boyfriend is, like her boyfriend is like in his 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like slightly awkward to see them together.
I'm dating Madonna, you know, she's an octogenarian, but I'm dating her.
Also, oh no, I can't remember what I was going to say, but oh fuck, I lost it.
It's all good. All right, let's dive into the record, and then if it pops back up, we'll go over it. All right. So it opens up with Drowned World, Substitute for Love. This to me, do you have a clip of it, Adam? All right, you play it. All right, kill it for time. All right, so this is supposed to be dance music, but this is like trip hop. This is more of like a Portishead record. At least that's the way it's opening to me. The themes of water and regeneration and desire for spirituality begin right at the top of the record with this rumination of what fame really means. Bonnie, thoughts on the song? How do you feel? What do you like about it?
Well, it's very like sort of a gentle, like, you know, entry into what's going to happen. But I also think like she took singing lessons for Evita, and I think it like so helped, you know, because like you said before, like she was never like considered a great singer, but it sounds so good.
Yeah, 100%. I also love this style of music. I love trip hop, as we've gone over on this podcast. And
what would you say, like, if you had to define it for someone who maybe didn't know what trip hop is?
Trip hop is like very sexy hip hop beats. This is a very, I mean, usually a dark. Well, trip hop is more dark, like
down tempo.
Like down tempo. Do you listen to Portishead, Bonnie?
No,
not really. For such a dark joke writer, you need to get into
really?
Portishead.
Okay.
Oh my God, you will love it. You're Canadian too. They're British. I don't know if that has.
I didn't. I was
like
excited about them being Canadian.
No, they're not Canadian.
You would both love the Crown. Yes.
They performed there for sure. They've eaten at Moishes in Montreal. But what I love about this song is that this is about fame. So I wanted to ask you, when did you have your first "I've made it" moment?
Have I had it yet? I don't even know. That's the thing about fame is like, it's so weird because the higher up you get, the more people that you see that are higher than you. It's like, it never is enough, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the things that you think when you start out that you'd be happy with, that you're not happy with, are amazing. You know, it's like I guess when I did David Letterman the first time, I was like, this is it, you know, but really nothing changed. Like, I could go to open mics and they would just put me on without me signing up. That's really like the biggest difference, which was kind of heavenly, but at the same time, it's not exactly fame, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I still get a kick out of that, especially during the quarantine, because I was listening. If there's a night I couldn't find a show, I'd be like, where's an open mic? And I'd find one and they'd be like, oh my God, we can't believe you're here. And I'm like,
yes.
Hey? Are you fucking, do you know who I am? You do?
That's
Holy shit.
Is at an open mic.
Oh my God. I'll take it.
When a comic doesn't know who I am, it's very, very depressing, you know?
Oh my God. Morty, did you ever have like a you know, because Morty's been, you know, in incredible bands.
But it's when you don't have control over what it is that you like, when somebody goes, well, the worst part about it is when you get this. I don't know if this happens to you guys. Hey man, I'm just checking in to see how you're doing. And you go, why? Like that's the weirdest thing. If you ever had any infamy, something that has nothing to do with you, like you're with somebody or you're married to somebody or somebody read about something but you don't know it yet. Right. You get that first call like, oh, I saw TMZ, and you go, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
That happens, and then or that's literally what you get, like on the New York feed, they got it early, and so they wake you up and you go, I don't know what you're talking about, but now I'm worried. Right. Now I got to run to Twitter and figure out what the
Morty,
fuck
but you, I don't know, Bonnie, you don't know this, but Morty had his divorce. Your divorce was all over like TMZ and shit like that. So I can only imagine.
TMZ is about as useless as tits on a snowman. It's got like absolutely no fucking. It's just one of those things.
I know we put tits on a snowman. By the way, thank you.
Well, you got to use carrots. You got to use carrots if they want to have those thigh nipples. But you know, when you just see it on television, it's pervasive, but you know, they have to fill up time.
Right.
So that's the worst part about it, is it's like a 24-hour cycle of shit. Nothing happened for 7 minutes. Let's talk about a Kardashian doing nothing. So like when there is something, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. And you know, for you, it's the most important thing that ever happened in that moment. And then it's gone. It's the fish and chip paper. You know what I mean? It's the next day, it's wrapping fish. But for like a second, you're like, oh my God. And then you learn.
Not just a second though, because now I feel like
it exists forever.
I feel like when stuff happens, like say a friend does a show and it gets a bad review or something, like they're getting it all the time because they've Googled it, or that, you know, so every single article is coming up for them and they're thinking everyone's reading this or seeing it when nobody else fucking is paying attention.
Yeah, you know? You learn that too.
Well,
nobody cares.
I don't know. We've had a few people that we know that have been canceled or are being attempted to be canceled recently. And I mean, it couldn't have hit at a worse time, because during the quarantine, like when any of this stuff was going on, it was like, well, Tiger King's over. I've already watched it. Yes. I guess we're going to watch these 3 comics be accused of sexual assault or whatever. And
Right.
So I think it depends on the situation. Definitely, you know, and TMZ of course is like just trying to fill their half-hour show and fill up their website. But I mean, everything Madonna did was in the news at one point.
Well, can I just say, because I feel like this is the Madonna, you know, thing, and also with comedians, is that you have to push boundaries in order to get noticed. You know, but then when you get to a certain level, it doesn't happen with singers and stuff, but it, you know, for whatever reason with comedians, all of a sudden they take what you're doing seriously. Like once you get to a certain level, it's like the thing that got you there is what's going to also bring you down.
For sure.
You know?
Oh, for sure. I'm surprised. Has Madonna ever been attempted at being canceled? Have they ever tried to cancel her?
Oh, I mean,
they've like taken away stuff, I guess, in the early days, maybe like, you know, advertising.
Well, she like a prayer got
yes.
it aired like once. The video, it was a Pepsi commercial. That's what you guys forget is they made a Pepsi commercial and then she was burning cross. I mean, you know, I'll give her this. I understand how crazy some people get about their religion. Burning crosses and then kissing a black dude who's supposed to be Jesus. I could see how that might have an incendiary effect on some portion of America.
there's some redneck.
I mean, I don't even care if I agree with what people are doing a lot of times. I love people who are willing to say unpopular things. Or she goes into it knowing there's going to be a problem when she does it. It's like not everyone is capable of handling that kind of pressure.
There's some guy in South Carolina that's watching MTV. It's like, that's it. No more Pepsi. I'm not drinking this shit. She just danced and kissed a colored boy while the cross is burning. Yes. Oh, sweet Jesus. Go grab me a Mr. Pibb because that's
while he's eating his wife while he's drinking a Pabst. You know,
the commercial aired once, by the way. It was like the biggest deal because Michael Jackson had done his Pepsi commercial. Right. And then it was like Madonna's new commercial. And I mean, it was, I'm a little older than you guys. It was like you were waiting to watch a commercial. Like it was like going to be the biggest thing. And it aired and it was the video. I mean, the video was chopped into the commercial and it was like it was like a producer's
moment. Didn't they know? Did it? How come Pepsi didn't realize in advance?
She's Madonna. Like you just gave them the opportunity.
They were just like, I guess it'll be okay.
Yeah, she's the number one. Yeah.
I mean, they're sitting at the board meeting. It's like, okay, listen, we know she just did the cold cone titty thing. Maybe she'll clean up for this.
Yes.
It'll be fine. Oh, nope. She's making out with Leon, the black dude. Okay. All right. Well, let's kind of
see. That was really the only way to reinvent yourself again was to like go spiritual. It was the only option she had at that point.
Worst thing about that record, by the way, is that when they shipped it, they had it like dipped in patchouli. That people don't know that, but when they shipped like the album,
are you serious?
It had like a scent put on it, and people like all the record reviewers and shit were like, "This fucking stunk up our entire office." Like everybody that got the record, I think it was just the vinyl because you could soak it in. But when people were getting it, they spritzed it with some kind of something. But people were getting it, were like, "Oh my god!" Like we can't believe our entire Rolling Stone was like our entire office. So I was like,
that's awful
because it was like a prayer. It was all like a prayer at the time.
You can't even wear a scent when you go to get a massage anymore. Yeah. People get so mad about it.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, let's move on to Ray of Light because I love Swim. Swim's a great song.
Well, just the one thing about that. Sorry, I'll just give you the one thing you guys should probably want this is she recorded the vocals for this song the day she found out that her good friend Gianni Versace got killed. So the song is, but that is a pretty heavy fact.
That was like part of her performance.
Wait, can you hear it? Let's hear if there's the sound.
This is Swim.
Of losing a friend. This is Swim. Yeah, play Swim real quick. All right, kill it. Yeah, I can. It sounds sad, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. You guys shake your voice in it.
I can't. My best friend, my favorite designer. All right, cue it up. I can't. I mean, what are you gonna do? We all handle death in a different way.
That's what I mean, other artists have done it, is like gotten into a place where they're actually like it's acting. I mean, obviously not for her, it wasn't, but it's like people who don't have great voices, that's what they have, like that expression of emotion, you know.
For sure. I love that you said that she's easing us into this record. She's easing us into this song right here, Ray of Light, because this, in my opinion, is the first dance song on the whole record. So this first single entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 5, which was at the time the highest new entry for a Madonna song. You mean, Morty, when you say that, how is that possible?
Because charts are weird and different. So when this came out, the placement of a record, you know, it can go to #1, but usually it comes out, it's at 5, 7, 3, you know, whatever. And then it eventually hits #1. This happened to be the first time that she hit, that's the highest number she ever hit on a debut.
I can't but they eventually all go to #1.
A lot of them, yeah. I will get to more of a really interesting thing about her chart history. But with that one, yeah, this was, and because, you know, a lot of times you don't know, you know, until like hip hop a lot of the time and the Beatles and stuff, you wouldn't know how popular something was from the jump. It's a lot to think that you enter at #1. That means like the pre-excitement for your song is so popular that it's already like outsold by the time it comes out. You know what I mean? Most people hear it, they hear it on the radio, and then they buy it, and then that's how the chart goes. Right. But to think about what that means to actually debut in a high number with something that nobody's really ever heard yet.
Yeah. No, I get it. That makes sense. All right. So this is based on the 1971 song Saffron, written by Curtis Muldoon and Dave Curtis. Originally, this was a 10-minute song. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, she had to heartbreakingly cut it in half. I mean, yeah, dude, 10 minutes. Well, you put this on at a nightclub.
Wait,
10
did
minutes,
she speed it up too or something?
Did she, Morty?
No, the original version of, I'm saying, dude, it was indulgent. They first recorded this and she was having so much fun with William Orbit because he had already done this song for another artist. And so basically when he showed up, he was like, oh, I have this thing based on this other thing. And she's like, I like it. Okay, great. And they did like a 10.5-minute track. And then they were like, okay, that's not going to work for radio. So let's
This also has the weirdest moment, in my opinion, of Madonna's whole career. The weirdest noise. Play it, UJT. Did you? Is that it?
Yeah, it was the beginning of that.
Do it again. Got to go back a little bit. Play it again. Because I want to hear it. All right, I don't want to hear it ever again. That's so scary.
What is it?
It's just her like
scream.
Oh, her scream.
It's just, you know, it's
just not good.
I mean, I don't think this is the best song on the record. I really don't.
This song.
Really?
Yes. And I love the video, and I love like how like pared down she is, and it's like suddenly you get to see Madonna, and it's like, I don't know, I just loved it.
She's got that like, you know, the raver, the 90s raver girl clothing, which is so adorable. You know, she's probably wearing Jinkos. I think she's wearing like a tank top in it.
No, she's not.
Yeah, she is. I mean, because dude, this is right. When did this come out, Morty? 99?
98. Right?
Yeah, 98.
98. I mean, that was when I was going to raves, and I remember her in the video. I mean, she's like basically like doing liquid. It's, you know, this is the rave culture. And I mean, they probably played this at nightclubs during the time, right?
I DJ'd this at night. I mean, remember, electronica had just happened. It was just sort of happening at this moment. Gay culture had that really high energy sort of stuff. 98, 99, there's like hip hop. Like clubs were sort of like, They were like European people would come up and go, are you going to play anything from Ibiza? And you'd be, get the fuck out of here. You know, nah, dude, I'm playing fucking, you know, whatever, you know, Biggie. So it was that crossover. Electronic music, all that Bob Sinclair and shit that you know, dance around, that didn't happen for a few more years at all. So like she was really ahead of it. This really brought that sort of like, this is like spin class music before they had spin.
Yes. It's like it's disco for monks or something.
Yeah, disco for your mom. Kind of, that's what it is.
There's some woman just like cooking a meatloaf to this song just in the kitchen, like, oh my god, this is the Madonna track. I love it so much.
I think like too, like it was like it was like fast, and but there was something like so grounded about it too. Like maybe it was the video that made me think that, but just that, like how like natural she finally looked. Like she was always so Madonna, you know, like. Yeah,
actually, here while we're speaking of that, new Jeremiah, can you put on? Can you find the music video for us so we can just see what she looks like? I really want to. I just really want to.
She looks normal. She looks like a totally like relatable normal.
I think she had like she had a perm, I think. It was like the weirdest thing about her. I think she had like kind of curly-ish. I always remember her hair bouncing. But I mean, it was like her in a green screen. It was like her like jumping up and down.
Yes, right. And
yeah, it's like her at Panera Bread.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You know, it's her getting a Frontega. Yeah, this isn't Cone Titty. This isn't Dick Tracy. This is
about to order a sandwich.
This is her at the Dwayne Reed. You know what I mean? Buying some basil spray.
Oh, we're all so busy. We're all just trying to get a little spirituality in there. You know, I don't know why it felt like it was like you're like. It was like, oh, okay. It was like a new path we could all get on. All right, so here we go.
Yes. All right, here we go. What do we got? Oh, your name's Adam. Okay. All right, skip ahead. Get to her dancing. All right, keep going. Move it. Keep going.
So weird. My memory doesn't have it like this, but
yeah. Where is she? Where is she at? Wait. Move it. Get to up. I see her. Get towards the end. Go towards.
Yes, yeah, there.
Yeah. You can get rid of this. God, now that's what I was talking about. The white tank top. God bless her soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of gay. Remember, up until this point, that really fast, upbeat, high energetic stuff that now we just take for like, it hadn't really come back like disco. I mean, disco. You had like Sylvester and all those things. You make me feel. That really high energy stuff. That really didn't break again in straight culture for a while at that point. You know what I mean? Like she kind of came back with that high energy stuff. And that was like, now if somebody came up with something, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's a fast track.
Right.
But at the time it was like, Madonna's doing upbeat, high energy music. This is incredible.
Because also like videos before that too were also like storytelling videos.
Yeah.
It's like, this was just
her dancing. It's like the movie Go. That's what it's like. Have you ever seen Go, the Doug Lamont film, which is kind of about like 3 different stories in the rave culture days of like 1999. This song could have been in that movie. This song, the music video, it basically looks like the different transitions from one storyline to another. It's the same thing. It's very, very late 90s. It's very late 90s.
Yes.
All right. So then Candy Perfume
But
Girl.
This was 20 years ago, like 21 years ago. What is it?
22.
22 years ago. That's like insane. It feels like still very like good.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, Candy Perfume Girl. It's another trip hop song. Kind of reminds me of Miss McClintock, who was a teacher at Germantown Elementary School that also worked a perfume counter at Hex. Like this song Smells Like Obsession by Calvin Klein. Skin. Which one is this? This is Skin? Nah, we don't hear it.
There's a good fact about Candy Perfume Girl if you want it.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear it.
Right,
it's just funny. You know that
better be good, Morty. Better be good.
You know
because
that company, you'll like this. You know that company Magnetic Poetry that everybody had on the refrigerator where it was just the dirty words?
Yes.
Because of sort of the stream of consciousness of this, the refrigerator magnet company tried to sue her to accuse her that she wrote this by using those words because of how the words are just rearranged in this song. Because you know, like you go home with somebody, you'd have sex with somebody, and they'd be sleeping, and you'd be like sneaking out, but you'd go to the refrigerator and grab a drink, and then you'd see it. It would have just like cunt, maid, and you just like write a sentence and then run out the door.
Him following me around.
Yeah, you'd be like at a party and just do that real quick, and then like run out the door and be like, oh, the next person's gonna read this when they go to get eggs. Like that company was like, oh no, she obviously used this to write this song.
Yeah.
It's like mad.
That's so funny. That's a hilarious. That's like a SNL skit or something.
All right, Morty, that was a good fact.
See?
Bonnie, I'm going to tell you right now, Morty, and you know you do this, bro. Sometimes you'll be like, all right, I just got a quick fact. So Madonna had on 3 different nail polish colors when she was recording this, and you're
that's
like,
on Nothing Really Matters.
Yeah. All right, let's get to that. Let's get to Nothing Really Matters.
Is my favorite one.
Yes. So this is the 5th and final single. Madonna said it's a song about the realization that the only thing that matters in life is loving people. And she's quoted saying, I truly believe that no matter what you've done in your life, no matter how bad you perceive it to be, you can always change where you are. I mean, there's so many similarities that link all of these thoughts, philosophies, spiritualities, religions together that in the end, you have to say, well, there has to be some universal truth in here. Madonna is dropping bombs. She's the new Eckhart Tolle.
Yes, it's so true, because it's like it's the Kabbalah and the Buddhism. It's all like meshing in.
Yeah, and I mean, could you imagine what that would be like? You hear about these stars like that just, everything, there's all the yes men, and everybody is just, just putting them up on a pedestal, and they're still unhappy. There's so many musicians that we know and love that have killed themselves when you look at them having everything, because they never have a moment like this where you have to have something. You have to have some kind of foundation to become, this, well, not to become a huge star, but to maintain it without going, Mariah Carey, on MTV, like in a bra and panties, like having a breakdown. I mean,
right.
Because it could have gone that way for. I love this. This is
right. That's why when this happened and she got into Kabbalah and all that, it was like exactly the right time for her to do it. Coming up to Y2K, and then having this song right now in 2020, 2021 is exactly perfect too. It's like the same thing. It just keeps coming back around. It's like she was right.
This also has one of the best moments on the entire record. Adam, play 336. Kill it. Morty, you played this for sure DJing, bro.
No, it wasn't. Madonna at that point was a little, they had the real stuff that this stuff was based on. I think it's really deep. I mean, I think it's a great. I give her a lot of credit for sort of saying something like that Friday. Remember, the Beatles went and tried to find the meaning of life when they were at the top of their game too. They went and did the Maharishi. And that was a bizarre, there's precedence for people sort of to hit the top of their fame. I mean, Prince became a Jehovah's Witness. There's a lot of precedence for like people to be like, no, this is all bullshit. I need to find the meaning of life. And remember, she just had a kid. So now she's
I think is a huge part of it too. Yeah.
And her mom died when she was a kid, which now connects you to, the big picture. You start looking what came before, what comes after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
and I think when you have a kid, you you fix a lot of the issues that you had with your family and your parents in your past when you have a kid. Like suddenly it's like that stuff's done, and now you move on to this this new world, this new cycle.
Yeah. I had a midlife crisis when I was 38, and it's now all this stuff that I just read is like basically the way that I've been able to find happiness, because we'll never find it in our careers. We're always, like you said earlier, there's always going to be a comic that got something that you wanted, or that maybe they work harder, but they're not nearly as funny. It's like the business and the entertainment industry is just not fair. And life in general isn't. So it's like you have to find something on a deeper level to find enjoyment. And
what's fair is like, when you do have some kind of inner peace and happiness, it's almost like you see those other people, even if they have more than you, struggling, you're like, it doesn't matter what they have, like in terms of, things or career, because you're like, you feel, I don't know, you just feel better about your own life, I guess. When you're doing what Madonna says to do, you just find your love. It's so cheesy that I would like this song, because it's not, because as you know, my comedy, it's like, it's not really me, but it is.
No.
The real me is that. It's like, I do believe this stuff. I do believe, like, find some love in your life. I mean, that's what we're here for. I believe that truly.
100%. I feel like you might have just answered it, but if you had to sum up in a sentence what you think the meaning of life is, what do you think it is?
I think it's like, this is so fucking cheesy.
Dude, be cheese.
I do think it's about like getting and receiving love. Like some people can't do either, Yeah. And it's like, and especially for yourself, it's like, I feel like maybe in the last 2 years or 3 years, I think because of the pandemic, honestly, I slowed down enough that I could sort of like actually start thinking about my life in sort of bigger, broader strokes instead of just like seeing the next thing right ahead of me and going. And I just realized, like, why do I fill myself up every day with self-hate? Like, it's so weird when, you know, when I break it down, it's like, I'm not such a terrible person, you know? And I think that when I started, I can't believe I'm talking about this.
Hit it. Go ahead.
No one will ever come see a show of mine again. But I do think, like, once I started to sort of like accept myself and feel better about myself, it's like life is so much easier. It's just so much more fun to get up out of bed and talk to people and hang out and do what you got to do in life. It's like before it used to be such a like struggle.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I completely agree with what you're saying, because it's, especially in just the comedy world, it's just there's so many egos and there's so many cliques, and it's like, do I fit in with these people? Do I fit in with them? And once you just say, I don't care who I fit in with, I'm just gonna be me. And
this is the Madonna thing. Like, she can't help but be herself. Like, she just walks towards what she likes every day, and then this is what happens. It's like if we could all just have that lesson. It's like even the audience. It's like, I would either drive home from a gig if I did well, thinking like, oh, well, that was, you know, I somehow like, you know, whatever you call it. Like I gave in to whatever they wanted and just did what they wanted me to do. And then I did well. And if I didn't do well, I'd be like, oh, I'm a terrible comic. I can't, you know, I shouldn't be doing this, you know. It's like, why would I let them dictate who I want to be?
But remember the first place we met at the M, where I had to feature for you, and you had to do 45 minutes in front of like 80-year-old gamblers.
I talk about that all the time, because that was the show where that was the only show in my life where halfway through I was like, I might not get paid.
Oh,
you destroyed.
But I had to you know, I had to dance.
You were standing on tables. You were walking around.
I was just trying to survive. That's
the
like
doing. I wasn't nervous about it. Like, I wasn't like, oh, like I knew that it would be hard to follow you, but I was like, well, we'll just take like 5 minutes and I'll get the energy back, you know. And I never got it back. And in fact, this woman goes up. This is like a casino, pretty trashy casino audience. Like trashy. They had shopping bags that were not new, you know, like they were using them as bags for their stuff. And then the one woman goes, "You got a family?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Talk about your family." She was trying to help me.
Oh my God. Well, no, it's just like, you know, there's some shows where we care a lot about, like, we want to do well, and it's like, oh my God. And then there's shows like that where it's just like, let's get through it. Let's just have as much fun as possible. Because that's the one thing that COVID really did to me in stand-up, which is instead of saying, I want to kill, I want the audience to love me, now I go, I just want to make sure I have fun. And if I have fun, then the audience will have fun. And even if I don't do very well, but I'm having fun and I can keep like my, you know, keep to self-love and just be present throughout it, then I don't even give a shit. I mean, dude, we're doing all these outdoor shows here, and it's like, they're not set up for us to win.
Right.
And it's, so you literally have to go into, who gives a shit? Just get through it, have a good time. And that's basically it. And I think that's basically.
I like a lose-lose, because then I know it's like not just me.
Dude, there's nothing better than when you and your friends bomb. You know, when you both have a bomb.
Everybody's going in. It's like it's your Vietnam. We're going to survive this.
There's nothing worse than when everybody does well and you're the bomb, and on the way home everybody's like, oh man, that was, you know, that was great. Or you're in the car and you're just like
trying to blame the audience, and they're like, I thought they were
good. Yeah. It's like, God, that was a rough one. They're like, I mean, you know.
Well, Rich used to get mad because I used to open for him, and then I would say that was a fucking dumb audience. And he gets so mad, so protective of his audience, you know. It's like, don't say that about him.
All right, let's Morty, is there anything to add
for that one? Which one did we just do? We did Nothing Really
Matters.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, no, we talked about it. Her mom passing away and her having a baby, and then the cycle of life.
All right, perfect. All right, let's
Thank you for making it even more cheesy than it was.
All right.
Well, hopefully they don't see that.
All right, Sky Fits Heaven, good song. It's from was it from a Gap commercial?
Yeah, there was like a poet who read this stuff in a Gap ad, and she was like, you know, like those lines. Let's put those into this next song or whatever. And whatever deal she worked out, the dude didn't get credit. The guy, well, let's give him credit now. Max Blagg, who's in a Gap
old
commercial,
Max, he
British
deserves
poet.
it.
Yeah, it's called What Fits, and all of a sudden, yeah.
All right, then there's Shanti Ashtangi. Here's what's crazy, because so after Lourdes' birth, Madonna began studying East Asian beliefs in yoga, influenced by the traditional opening Sanskrit prayer used during Himalayan yoga classes. She exclaimed how, with artistic license, I took 2 Vedic prayers from the 13th century, and then I sort of threw in a bunch of stuff too. What I wanted to do is take the idea of it, put it into the 21st century, and use modern sound. So I go to this yoga studio in LA. There's this very over the top gay yoga instructor. Fuck, what is his name? I think it's like Randall or something. And he's wearing all the beads, and he's like, you know, it's hot yoga and everybody's sweating their balls off. He's wearing full pants and clothes, just drenched in sweat. And at the end, when we're about to get into Shavasana, he makes everybody sing. And I just found out it's from this song was what we're singing. So go ahead, Adam, play it for a second with the 119.
Shanti, 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 Om Shanti.
I love this song. I love this song. And it's not.
So good.
All right, kill it, Adam.
Would she get in trouble now for doing this? In our cultural appropriation world?
I don't know. Is
once
this
again,
offensive?
there's precedence. George Harrison was doing this in the mid 60s, you know, taking these, you know, and even in the early 70s on like the Hare Krishna stuff that he was doing. So, you know, it had been westernized. I mean, this felt a little less appropriate, given that she had, you know, a year before had her boobs out or whatever it was. I could see that being a little more like, wait, right, who just did the 13th century Vedic prayer that it means everything to us? Madonna, the one naked one on the boat. Yeah, I could see that being a little more insane, you know, heavy.
Great song. Let's get to Frozen, because Frozen's the biggie. This only went to number 2 in the US. It was her first to enter at number 1 in the UK, and it went to number 1 in several other countries. Madonna said it's about retaliation, revenge, hate, and regret. And while people assumed it was about her ex-boyfriend and Lourdes' father, Carlos Leon, it was about people in general. God, I remember Carlos Leon. He was a real, kind of looked like a Mexican Slender Man.
That's like what her boyfriend looks like now.
Why'd you look up like that?
No, I'm just like, I had the Slender Man thing because I was just like, wow, what a freaky. I got that chill.
He looked like a Latino sleep paralysis. Pull him up, Adam. Pull up Carlos Leon.
Like, people forget that. It was like her trainer.
Was he a trainer?
Yeah, it was like her train. Like, she was in between husbands.
Right.
He was like, all right, you got to work on these hips, darling. We really got to get that. Oh, you want to make a baby? Okay. Okay.
I mean, if you're going to pick somebody to make a baby with, you know, pick a physical specimen.
Yep. What'd I tell you? Like, he looks like, kind of like Slender Man.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he was like coming through something elongated him.
Oh, that's not how I remember him looking at all. That's so weird.
I mean, this is him now. This is him now. Now he looks like a Latino.
Yeah, he looks like he's like a film director or something.
But he's still, that's some of their kid, dude. He's still, dude. Whatever he did, he looks good for whatever age he is.
He does that him with Tilda Swinton.
He's 20 years younger than Madonna.
Get out of here. All right,
he might be younger than me. Now I'm embarrassed.
So this is influenced by Indian and Moroccan music. She told Patrick Leonard she wanted something tribal, lush, and romantic. I think she nailed it. Play 444. All right, that's enough. So this might, in my opinion, be the best song on the record. I think everything about this song is great. I think
it's the best song in the world.
Yeah, the beat, the vocals, and then the strings are lush. It's beautiful. And this is something, Adam, or maybe more do you know, I also feel this song is influenced by Uncle, Unkle, who's that guy. It was like him and DJ Shadow. You know, it's a trip hoppy. There was a song, Lonely Soul, by Uncle. Because even the outro of this song, the way they have the strings, did you pull that clip? Do you have the clip, Adam? Play the ending of Lonely Soul. All right, kill it. When did Lonely Soul come out? Do we know? More do you know?
They're early. That was an early. James Lavelle's the guy's name. It was early 90s. It was early 90s, but you know, you have to remember William Orbit. Like that's what we missed. You know, just you got William Orbit. I mean, you can't hear this record without thinking she was going to be making a record that sounded like she had Babyface. Like she was going to make another hit record with all these great hit writers and everything. And then she's like, no, who's that guy? And it's like this younger dude who has all this, you know, all these influences. So all this like stuff obviously is Uncle and all that trip hop stuff you're talking about, because here's a British producer guy who's doing remixes and stuff. And she's like, that's the dude I want to work with. I'll use those songs, but this is the sound I want to have. So like everything he brought, and it's Madonna. She listens. You obviously absorbs everything that was popular and even underground at the time. So it makes absolute sense you'd hear that, because that's probably, it was probably what they were all doing. Because I think he's a contemporary of Uncle and all those artists.
Yeah.
Do singers, songwriters, whatever artists, do they ever have like two different producers or
this
more?
album has 4 different producers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they do. Oh, it's not like you just have one producer for one album. You have it for each song, kind of thing.
Especially nowadays.
There's any of the hip hop records we've done on this has 20 producers.
Oh,
so
yeah, 20 writers, 20 producers. I mean, you find that a lot of times. A lot of times they would have somebody who would just do the single. You know, even the Pretenders' first album, Brass and Pocket, is produced, or the single "Stop Your Sobbing" is produced by Nick Lowe. The rest of the record's Chris Thomas. You know, they would do that. They'd get one guy and they'd go, "You make the single because this is going to go on the radio."
But then
whatever the record.
Like, it's hard to get a cohesive feel with that, or no one cares about that anymore.
Now nobody hears a record anymore.
Right.
So there's, I mean, even then though, this was like you put it on and you'd still listen to the whole thing. There was still hard copy, like CDs. Once it became in the ethers and you just got it download and everything, you were like, it went from like, yo, play the great song, like play number 7, play number 9, play number 3. And then that's gone. Nobody even knows where the track listing is. Nobody knows where a song is, because it just all comes out in like a blob in the air.
Yeah.
Right. Unless it's
Is there anything to add to this one?
This one, let's see. Yeah, well, she actually wanted. Okay, this is interesting. So this was a huge hit everywhere but Belgium, because she got sued there and lost for plagiarizing a song called "My Life's Getting Nowhere" by Salvatore Acquaviva. So it was banned there until 2014. In
Adam,
Belgium.
pull that up right now.
You'd have to like run to
Up.
France to listen to this, and then run back.
Pull up "My Life's Getting Nowhere" by Salvatore Acquaviva, which is the cologne.
They stole this song from that song.
This was like I guess there's like a popular song around that, around regionally or whatever it was. And then everybody knows the video to this is like, it's this incredible video of how she originally wanted to film this in Iceland. But she's like, dude, that would be I'd be miserable. I want to be barefoot. I want to be in like a slip dress and everything. So she goes, I'm going to go film it in the desert in California. And it ends up being fucking freezing and pouring rain. And everybody's getting sick. And she's still barefoot. So she could have just done it in Iceland and dealt with it.
That's typical.
Yeah.
It's weird
you got the song?
Right?
Remember this video, though? I mean, do you guys remember this with like the weird, like she turned into like birds?
Yeah,
it was like an early computer generated, like, now it just looks like a bad X-Men knockoff film. Right. But at the time it was like, oh my God. And then she becomes, dude, you don't understand. She becomes like bats.
She becomes a bird. The bird becomes her.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God. She's
binding in that.
Yeah.
Did you find it? No, all right, fuck it. Well, who gives a shit?
I want to
Fuck
hear
these-
it. God
So
damn
do
it.
I. So do I. Salvatore Acquaviva. All right, well, here, he'll keep looking it up, and then we'll move on. The last one I want to talk about, because I don't feel like a lot of the other songs.
Well, Power
You
of
know,
Goodbye. I don't know if that's
What I want to talk about. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. But I'm saying, like, to have and not to hold, it's crap.
You might as well. I can give you a couple little tids if you want, but rather, I think
let's get to that. Let's do Power of Goodbye and get to the
record
facts,
tops with Power of Goodbye.
Yeah. Power of Goodbye, fourth single. It's about finding strength and peace after the breakup of a relationship.
These are all so simple, too.
Oh, yeah,
in terms of like their themes.
Yes. According to co-writer Rick Nowels, the lyrics to Power of Goodbye are stunning. I love Madonna as an artist and a songwriter. I know she's grew up on Joni Mitchell and Motown, and to my ears, she embodies the best of both worlds. She is a wonderful confessional songwriter, as well as being a superb hit chorus pop writer. She doesn't get the credit she deserves as a writer. Now, on that statement, and Morty, maybe you know, but I assumed she wasn't writing any of her songs.
Oh no, she's been hands-on from the. She's had co-writers and she's had people working with her, but she's been involved. I think with maybe minor exception to somebody who just brought in a song, she's been involved since the beginning. Because you have to remember, she's a badass. Like, we forget this a lot about her. She came up, she was playing drums and percussion and singing in a band called The Breakfast Club, which had like a minor hit in the 80s. But she came up and was like, she was dancing with Alvin Ailey, and she was like in France. And then, she came into this game not like, oh yeah, I'm just going to be the chick that you put on the cover of the album. And she was like involved from the jump in her career. So
she's writing a movie about herself, right?
That would
even
actually
now,
be,
she's like.
I still want to know what that one hit by the Breakfast Club was. Was it like
oatmeal, right on track,
oatmeal with blueberries, put some almond milk and a dash of honey? Breakfast Club, yeah. That's a good one, Morty. You can laugh.
I'm giving it to you.
I know we started a little rough today. I know we started a little rough today, but I love you.
But I'm a fan of that song, of their hit. They actually had a hit called "Right on Track."
Egg whites and whole wheat toast. Yeah, man. Power of Goodbye. Really, really beautiful song. Morty, I think you have a really interesting fact. This is
a great one. I have two quick ones, but this was supposedly about her ex-husband, Sean Penn. A lot of people, if you're younger, you don't know that she was married to she was married to Sean Penn for like 4 years. And
very
all that shit we talked about,
relationship.
Yeah, it was. I mean, dude, there was pop. This is like beginning of like the pop rock where Sean would like knock out a dude in front of a thing.
Didn't he tire and leave her there once?
It was deep,
There was
dude.
crazy
this is
stories.
Like, yeah, it was, and nobody remembers that because you think, I guess if you're younger, Sean Penn is like the dude from something.
If you're younger, you don't know who Sean Penn is.
Yeah, you don't know. You're like Spicoli. Oh, maybe I know Spicoli. Yeah, but it's pretty heavy at the time, and it's a stupid throwaway fact.
Amazing at the time.
Oh, yeah.
When you first started dating, you were like,
did you ever see the movie they did?
Shanghai. I never saw it.
Like Shanghai Express, Shanghai Surprise. That was like, it was going to be like their Preston Sturgis movie. Like, it was going to be like where you got like Cary Grant and Carol Lombard, and they'll go through it, and it was hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Because that's not Sean Penn. It was a George Harrison produced film, but it was difficult.
Who directed it? Do you know?
Oh God, I blanked on that. No, it was somebody though. Like, it was somebody where that was like, oh, how could it miss?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then have you ever are you guys Bukowski guys? Josh, you seem like a Bukowski guy. Did you ever go through your like, I'm gonna drink Bukowski?
I don't know. I'm more of a Camus dude.
Okay. When we get to The Cure, we could do that. Anyway, if you ever read the book Hollywood by Bukowski, he does a very thinly veiled. He talks about Henry Chinaski's his character that he writes in all his books. That's him. If you ever watch Barflies, but in it, he talks about how the reason I screwed this up is how Tom Pell and his wife Miranda came to try to get the rights to his book. The book's called Hollywood, and it's like the worst thinly veiled writing of Sean Penn and Madonna. They tried to buy it, but Tom Pell and Miranda and his wife Miranda came to try to get the rights to my book. It was at that
Holy
time when
shit.
they were married. So I thought that was just incredible. And then Rick Knowles, just so you guys know, Rick Knowles knows his shit. He came up writing shit for Stevie Nicks, and he co-wrote like the New Radicals, you know, You Get What You Give, the thing that Biden just used. And since then, Licky Lee, Dua Lipa, and he's the guy that's pretty much, I don't want to say Svengali. He's the guy that has been with Lana Del Rey from the beginning.
Yeah.
He's like her dude for everything, like up until now. So I almost like, I think he looked at Madonna and was like, I can do that. Like I can start from scratch.
You just gave me a good question to ask Bonnie at the end when we do rapid questions.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not. I'll tell you later. Don't worry. We get it's a whole
Who's
thing
yours?
we do. It's a
Can
whole.
I ask
It's
you
a whole
question,
thing.
though? Because why is it like someone like Madonna, who's obviously so creative and has her own mind and very like controlling things, like, and she's wanted to be a director and an actor, and she couldn't do those things. Like those things are just not happening for her, you know?
Well,
It's
Evita did okay. I mean, she got praised for Evita. She got praised. The movie got a little panned, but I think she got, you know, they were like, she's finally, and Desperately Seeking.
That was like very specific casting, I think, like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how much acting did she really have to do in that?
Did you ever
In
see
what?
Truth or Dare? Are you too young to have? Are you guys too young to have like watched Truth or Dare, the black and white tour?
Oh
movie?
yeah.
She
I don't
did,
remember
where-
that.
yeah.
No,
The
but
whole
she's
movie,
like that because that's just her being her.
and it was just but it was like it's watch it now, and it's sort of a tough watch.
It is.
It's a bit hard because like she was it was like Warren, she's like trying to get Warren Beatty like to get in front of the camera. Now it would have been like literally like an Epix hour or like a Netflix hour documentary, like one of those things that like what's her face
But
did,
is it
like
the
Beyonce
first one?
did. It was the black and white. You went to a theater to watch her backstage, like with her people, like making fun of her makeup director, and like she's.
Oh, I remember
like,
Truth or Dare.
Warren,
Yeah.
Warren,
I remember.
get on film, and he's like, no, I don't want.
Did she like? Was there other movies like that, or there wasn't? That was like
She was pretty
that was
original
her
for her
idea
to do.
a movie like that.
No, nowadays it would have been like an MTV thing. Like it would have just been like backstage with Madonna for now. But it was like her, like, this is how sexual I am. Here's me with all my gay dancers.
I
like,
remember
bitches.
Yeah,
You know, like
I remember that.
yeah, it was early on. I mean, she was good in that. What was that Ice Pick movie? It was the one like
Dude,
like
Body of Evidence.
Body of
the one
Evidence.
that she did with William
Yeah.
Dafoe, where either she drips hot candle wax on his chest, or he drips hot candle wax on her chest.
it was his. It was like Fatal Attraction. Like they
don't
did like
remember.
9 Fatal Attraction movies, and that was one of them. She got a bit panned for that, and Dick Tracy she got a bit panned for because she was with Warren Beatty for that, you know. But it was a cartoon movie anyway. But I think she did that horrible remake of.
Slept Away.
Swept Away. Oh my God.
That was when she was married to Guy Ritchie.
That was difficult. That was a difficult movie.
He directed it, but it was like, dude, Guy Ritchie is the it director in the world. He Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch. She's this icon. They're getting together to remake this movie that's going to be shot in like a desert island, and it is fucking garbage.
It's so amazing when you think like, well, all the ingredients are there. How could this be bad?
It's gonna be great.
You need British people and guns and jumping and slow motion and shit, and that was not that movie.
I mean, they should have put her in like a Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels movie. That's what they should have done.
Absolutely.
That's Guy Ritchie's like wheelhouse, and he's great at it. He's making the same movie over and over and over again, and it's great.
Always entertaining.
Always entertaining. All right, let's get to the facts, and then we'll get out of here. Morty, what do you got?
Okay, so let's see where we do this.
Just pick like we're at. Hold on, before we get, we're at. I got us recording. Adam, what are we at right now?
We are at about an hour 10.
Okay, I'll give you this quickly. Okay, so her voice. So okay,
wait, hold on, no. Do a clean take because he's talking over you. So all right, Morty. Let's do some facts and let's get out of here. Come on.
Okay, so you were talking about how she did Evita. So going into this record, she had been really working with a vocal coach. And so you talked about how Madonna really, if you guys know anything about Madonna, very similar to kind of Britney Spears, she was never known for her voice. She was known for almost everything but her voice. But going into this, after she did Evita, like they really strengthened her up. So she went into this thing she actually said about it, she's like, before I just believe I had a really limited range and was going to make the most of it. So she not only felt her own sexually, spiritually as a mother, but she felt like, God, I can really sing now.
Right.
So like, there's much more of that on this record than there had ever been up until this point.
Really? So that's about her finding her voice?
Well, I mean, literally and metaphorically.
And she found that like she actually had another range that she never used before. That she suddenly was like, oh, I have
that
like
primal scream crap.
Yes.
That was embarrassing. Just so you don't think that was embarrassing at the time. Don't think like that. That just aged poorly. That came out. That came out. It happened in the song, and people went, "Oh my God, what the fuck is that?
What are you doing, Madonna?
Yeah, stop it, bitch. You're Madonna."
All right, so instead of asking you about when did you find your voice, because that's such it's a good question, but I wanted to ask you because I feel like we skipped over it. We had it in a different song. Let's talk about finding. When did you find that moment where you, if you don't mind talking about it, where you fell in love with Rich?
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. It's a complicated story to tell because I had a tough relationship with my mom, and I fixed it. We came to a very nice, she even wrote me a letter and sent it in the mail. And I remember when I was reading the letter, I thought to myself, oh no, not while I'm dating Rich. Because I knew fixing the relationship with my mom would be like fixing myself, and then I could have like a normal relationship with someone. So I remember reading the letter thinking like, oh no, I'm dating Rich. I'm gonna marry him. And then I did. But does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It was just perfect timing for it all to come together.
I was like, oh boy. Even I was like, what the hell? And no, one of the things that I loved about Rich was that I love arrogant people. Like I'm attracted to them. I think because I'm Canadian and it's such a thing that you're not supposed to have. You're not, you're always supposed to sort of like be very self-deprecating and, modest and stuff. And I remember the first time that we went for dinner and we were having sushi, and he said, he goes, I wish people would see that I'm a genius. And I remember thinking, like, is he joking? Like, is this? And then I realized, like, he's telling someone this for real, which I don't know. Like, it like kind of made me fall in love with him. I was like, wow.
God, what a first date conversation. I just wish everybody would realize that I'm a genius. So do you want to get some edamame?
I know. I remember being like, what kind of person is this? Yeah. But, yeah. I still like that part of it. I still like that about him, that he's very like, I mean, he flip flops, it's really just hubris. He's empty inside.
We all are. We all are.
Not having a good childhood, but I love it when he walks around confident. Like, it makes me feel safe or something.
I get it. Totally. All right, Morty, what else you got?
Okay, this one's really interesting. So besides having the most successful solo career in the Billboard Hot 100 chart history by having 12 number ones, Frozen was her 6th number 2. Now, this gives Madonna the dubious distinction of having the most number 2s of any artist.
I mean,
I know.
Oh God, number 2s, great. I don't.
Too. Okay.
Yeah. Dude, that blows my mind because I feel like every song she ever did was just played thousands of times on MTV.
Well, I mean, number 2 is only one below number 1. I mean, there's really not a huge difference.
I agree with Josh. It seems like they would all go number 1.
Yeah, but 12, I mean, 12's nothing to sneeze at. 12 number 1s in your career, and then to have 6 number 2s, it's like the Beatles like really only fucked up with like, when they put out the double A side and got held off by Engelbert Humperdinck with Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever. Everything else they did was like right up there, like the Madonna thing was just number 1. That's, like, okay, getting to number 2. By the way, the band that had the most number 2s without ever having a number 1?
Ooh, who?
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh. No shit.
Yeah,
No
they had
shit.
like they're like the band, like they had like something ridiculous, like 6 or 7.
You never had a #1?
Never had a #1 in their entire career. And you were just like, oh, you guys.
Oh, they're just millionaires. Oh, how
Yeah,
bad,
exactly.
how unfortunate for them.
Yeah, flannel, man.
When like what's the name of that song? Nothing Really Matters was #2. Like, what was #1?
Oh, I don't have that right in front of me, but it was always stuff but it was either something like, you know, in England, it would be something you never heard of. You know what I mean? Right. It would be whoever the Chumbawamba of that year was. You know, it would be like, oh, the Jabba Bubbles had a huge like radio hit because it was an advert for a candy bar. You know what I mean? You'd go like, what?
Yeah.
But in America, it would be something you'd probably heard of. Like in America, it was like Huey Lewis or something.
Right.
You know, it would be like something you'd be like, oh, absolutely. That was their year.
Adam, if you can find out when we jump to the next fact, what was the song that went to #1 that bumped out? Which one are we going for?
Was it
Nothing Really Matters?
Nothing Really Matters.
I don't know which one was #2. I thought that was #2.
All right, so just for time, Morty, can you just do the Sephron and then at this year's so do Sephron and the other one we have 2 questions.
Okay, here we go.
Get to those.
Okay, so the Sephron you talked about, the Sephron co-writer Curtis Muldoon. Okay, so what you have to know is, like you said, William Orbit was already doing this song as another song with another artist. So he brings it to Madonna. Madonna's like, oh yeah, I like that. So the guy who writes the song is unaware, and he's annoyed that she remakes Ray of Light, and she just all of a sudden goes, okay, I'm going to take 30% of the publishing from this song that they had like already written. But then he said, I realized that 15% of millions is a lot better than 100% of nothing. I did very well out of it. It's been a life-changing experience. I'd say I've been financially secure for at least the next 5 to 10 years as a result of 15% of one track by Madonna.
Wow.
So Madonna, I have like 3 albums on Spotify. If you want to take any of them and give me 1%.
1%.
I'll take anything.
Bonnie, what was your worst business experience?
Well, I got a manager when I first got to New York, and then I signed a contract with him, and then he turned out to be kind of abusive. So then I tried to get rid of him, and he wouldn't let me go out of the contract. And so he took every penny, 15% of every penny that I made for 3 more years, even though he was no longer the manager.
Oh, wow.
And I had to be a lawyer to try to get out of it, and I couldn't get out of it. So I also had like spent money for this lawyer, like really not great.
Oh, I've heard that experience so many times. Is like you get that manager, because I've always had it where it's like I've never really had a real contract with my agents or anything. So it's just like, I can probably just
either. It's just like a handshake. It's
always a handshake. And
but it was like I just got here from Canada, you know.
Yeah, I get it. All right, well, what was your best business experience?
I signed a deal with oh my God, now I can't remember his name. Anthony Bourdain to write a book, and that was like he saw me at a roast. I did a roast of his, and then he just said, do you want to write a book? I have an imprint. And then I just wrote a book and he published it. It was like the easiest. And then he offered me like 3 times what I thought that I was going to get. So it was just like this insanely easy thing that just kind of fell in my lap. Yeah. I mean, writing the book was hard, but.
Did you get to hang out with him?
Yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, he was a great guy.
All right. Not to cut this off, but the song that topped Frozen for the #1 spot, may he rest in peace, DMX, Get At Me Dog, April 8th, 1988.
And I have to be honest, I don't know that song.
Play it, Adam. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Get At Me Dog. Let's hear it.
Do you know this one? Was this like a hit?
I think it's like the one that's like, DMX, you wanted to get it, you gonna got it, but it's every one of DMX's songs.
Oh, wow.
It's all of DMX's songs are like,
he's like the Andrew WK of hip hop.
Here we go. Let's hear what topped Frozen. Play it. Music.
Let's take it back to the streets, mother. Yeah. Right here, dog. Where my dogs at? We right here, dog. Where my dogs at? I'm right here, dog. What must I go through to show you shit is real? And I ain't really never gave a fuck how they.
I mean, the exact
funny that that
opposite.
I like how he found motherhood at the same time as well.
He's on the same path.
Good
Yeah,
one.
he was great. He was deep.
All right, Morty, what do you got for the last fact, bud?
Okay, so this one, there's a little bit of controversy here. At that year's MTV Video Music Awards, she caught heat from the religious organization, the World of Vaishnava Association, for wearing the Hindi mark she's wearing the Hindi mark that represents purity and chastity on her head during a performance that sees her in this see-through top simulating a sex act. So, she's ever Madonna.
What was the sex act?
What was this? Grinding, putting her head in someone's, probably putting her head in someone's crotch, dancing around. And, it was enough that the guys are like, oh, look at her. She's really bringing, the Vaishnava stuff to the masses. And this is really going to help us out. Are those her nipples? Wait, is she blowing the sitar player?
How did you make a Hindu word into Yiddish? You were like, the Vaishnava.
It just happens. I literally can't help it. I pickle curry.
All right, Bonnie, what was your most controversial moment?
I said cunt on Last Comic Standing, and you had to do like a full set, and that they only take 30 seconds of it. So I did this joke that's really funny, and to make the judges laugh, and not thinking that NBC would fucking air it. They had like 4.5 minutes of other clean jokes they could have taken.
Yeah.
But of course, it's a reality show. They put it on, bleeped it, and then they had all the other contestants being like, "Her career is over."
Did they have a clause? Was there like a clause in that thing that you only do like a clean 5 or something?
Our year, it was like they kind of let us do whatever we wanted because we were the second season, and they made us come up with so much new material all the time. Like it was never enough. And they had so many criteria of stuff you couldn't talk about that didn't have to do with like curse words that,
like don't talk about Pepsi. Is that the big line? Like, don't burn crosses on your lawn.
Right. No religion, no drugs, no, like that. They just kind of like, if your joke didn't hit and also, they just told us not to do it. They didn't ever really look through your material. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
Just go on stage.
Good thing comedians never want to they never want to push the envelope.
I mean, the thing is that it's a funny joke. I'll tell you the joke if you want.
Please.
It's just like women get mad when, guys call them honey or, sweetheart, which I don't care. I mean, I've been called cunt so many times. I don't know. There's something like that. But it was like, it was just, I think I opened with it even. Like, I just did it to make, like, Brett Butler was one of the judges, and I remember thinking, like, oh, she'll think this is funny. And then I watched her, like, fall off her chair, and I was like, yay. But I didn't know they would put it on the show.
Well,
so you're charming.
Yeah,
so
it's not like me saying cunt. It's you saying cunt. You know what I mean?
You say it. I just called a restraining order on you for saying that. I could hear that in your voice.
It's a weird thing. Like if you're a comedian or you just like these words don't even register with you anymore. It's not like,
nothing. Yeah.
Or
it's like sometimes I'll be with my sister and I'll say cunt and then they'll both be like, flipping out. Oh, whoops, sorry, forgot.
I think Canada has an allotment of the amount of times any Canadian, the entire country, you have like 3 you're allowed to say.
Yeah, I've used them up. Believe me.
She just right now in this conversation. Sorry, Dave Thomas.
But in the UK, you can say it as many times as you want.
As many times as you want. Yeah. God, they're so much cooler. Their music, their words, the candy, British candy, 10 times better than anything American. All right, let's do some quickies and we'll get out of here. All right, Bonnie, favorite song on the record.
I said that it was what did I say that
Nothing
it was?
Really matters.
Nothing really matters, but then I changed it to Frozen.
Ooh, all right. Least favorite song on the record.
Maybe I don't know, maybe Candy Perfume Girl. I know that's like an unpopular stance, but
It kind of sucks. What song on this record would you fuck to?
All of them.
All of them? You're doing a whole record starting right from the beginning?
They're all very sexual.
Okay, no, they're all very, yes, this is a very fuckable record. Very, very fuckable.
And you make a good point. If I could fuck from beginning to end of the record, that'd be a pretty good night.
I mean,
but I guess now that I'm married, you're asking me what 30%.
Yeah, because
I always imagine you're talking about the person you're with when you ask this question. Yeah. And it's just so funny to be like, oh, you mean with my husband?
With my husband,
yeah. No. That one song.
Sometimes I take the phone and I put someone else's picture on it. And then he doesn't care. He's cool about it.
I just want to make that scream.
By the time the scream is over, so are we.
That's hilarious. All right, this is the one that I came up earlier that I wrote down, and I feel like this is apt. What artist now is taking the torch from Madonna?
Oh, I don't even have any clue. I mean, I can't even answer that. Music has like taken such a back seat in my life. It's pretty sad.
Who would you think, Morty?
Like taking the torch.
The one
in
who
what
tried
way?
to do it is Lady Gaga. I mean, she's the one who the thing was Madonna, because we live in a society where things happen quicker, so much more immediate. Madonna would do like a season of being the chick with the feathered this, and she'd do a season of wearing like the little gummy bracelets and the thing, and then she'd do a season of having an afro. Lady Gaga did it every time you saw her. She couldn't be in what she was wearing the second time, the last time you saw her.
Right.
And it was like, I'm in a meat dress. I'm coming out of an orb. I'm in a thing. She wore jeans.
At lightning speed.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like every time you saw her, I was like, go, whoa. Because Gwen Stefani would sort of do like a season thing. Like she had the thing and then she wore the pants. So for one tour, I looked like that. But with Lady Gaga, it was like every time you saw her, it was like, what can I do to beat what they just saw? Like, I'm not kidding, like a week ago. And you never got a chance to get a beat. Yeah.
All right. Well, then here's the follow-up question to that one, Bonnie, because if you don't know the artists that are coming out that are kind of taking the torch from her, what is your favorite Madonna?
Oh, which one is my favorite Madonna? I think this one is my favorite Madonna. Like Ray of Light, like I like that Madonna. I don't know why, it still speaks to me. But when I was a kid, it's just that her songs now from back then sound so kid-like. I don't know how to explain it. Like they don't.
That's a style of music, though. I mean, it was the 80s. I mean, everything like a Virgin. It's the production on it is. I mean, it's a perfectly written song. It's a perfect pop song. But it's like even the what do you call those, like drums, like the track drums,
the Lynn drum? Yeah, there was a lot of programming.
Yeah, it's a lot of programming. It sounds very 80s, and it doesn't, listen, you could still put it on. I bet, Morty, if you're DJing a Rosenbaum show and you put Like a Virgin on, it still probably gets the dance floor going.
Oh yeah, no, it's especially women of a certain age tend to like
our 80s
tend to like that music a whole lot. It's a lot of it's about.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that the three of us are all in that certain age soon? I mean, we're all
older,
there.
Man.
You're in your 50s, but still, it's like, I mean. Dude,
everyone over 35 is the same age. Let's not forget that.
But you'll see, there's a degree. I'll tell you why. Here's my favorite Madonna. When they found all those naked pictures of her and they were in Playboy. By the way, the last issue, here's how old I am. The last issue that had staples was they put out the last Playboy that had staples before they came up with that new binder that was like flat. But the last issue.
I mean, I didn't really follow the bindings.
No, I'm saying any magazines. Remember how magazines used to have staples?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. This was the last. It's like before they went to like the hard binding kind of thing, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Madonna, Playboy bought the photos that she took as like a student when she needed money in New York, and she just took like her and her hairy armpits, like artistic.
Yeah, I remember seeing
that. Was a revelation for us because she was only like 2 records in. So it was like finding like the most desirable person of the world, and then going, oh, by the way, there's all these naked pictures of them, And oh, you're also prepubescent or just pubescent at the time. It was.
Wait, how old is she in those pictures?
Probably like 19.
Yeah,
something like that. 20. Like it was like stuff like we're like I need some money. Oh yeah, my school's. I can can I take black and white artistic photos of you naked with a cat? Oh yeah, totally. And then years later she's Madonna. So I'm like, that's the era where I was like, she was the hottest thing you ever saw, ever as a dude, because there really wasn't much else. You know what I mean? Like we were too young for porn. There wasn't readily available.
Well, that's what I'll say about the early Madonna was like, she did give like women something or young women something, like some kind of like confidence in their sexuality. Whereas before you just kind of felt like everyone was like asking you to downplay it. Like society was asking you to be ultra feminine and also pretend it wasn't happening at the same time. Like she was just like,
well, she was in control. She was in control of it.
Yeah, she was in complete
Before that,
control.
you felt there was a dude who went, "Yo, take your top off." Like this, like a dude who told. She was like, "I own my sexuality in this moment, and I'm not afraid to use it." And before that, Stevie Nicks, whoever it was, they were open and free, and they wrote songs that expressed "It's me and I'm in charge." But people really didn't serve it up themselves and own it. It was still thought of as like, how dare that person be naked on whatever. And she was like, no, this is mine. Here's my butt. Here's my boobs. I'm rolling around on the stage. Yeah. You guys, crazy.
She opened the door to OnlyFans. Am I correct?
Exactly. $15 a month.
All right. Last question, Bonnie. This has been great. Does this record deserve to be on the 500 greatest albums list? And is it ranked accordingly? It is ranked. Let me check. 367.
67? Yeah.
Whoa, that's down there.
I mean, this is ahead of a lot of great records. It's ahead of a Beatles record, Let It Be. It's ahead of Morty, name some
all
other
three
shit.
big star, all three big star records.
We always talk, big stars, big.
But I'm saying to have all their records and then like Police and like there's some records on here where you're like, what?
Yeah,
like this is more important.
What's a record on there that you don't think should be on there?
Oh God.
I mean, there's been a bunch.
That PIL record.
No, the PIL it's the bitches brew of punk rock, dude.
Oh God,
it really is. It is. There's some crap.
Sounds like if Miles Davis picked up his horn and just threw it at the wall repeatedly and they recorded it, I would be like, I could see the parallel. But it's
the funniest thing, Bonnie, is one of the best jokes somebody said on this, because this PIL record really is it's a shit show. And he goes, "What number is it?" And I'm like, it's 432. And Kyle Kinane's doing the episode. He goes, "So this is 432." He goes, "What's 431? Halloween spooky sounds?" Like,
yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like, yeah, dude. No, it's everything we've talked about. And Madonna's got some more records coming up. I think Immaculate Collection's on this list,
which is the greatest hits.
Is the greatest hits, but it's got a couple new songs. I think Justify My Love was on from that. This is an important record. I mean, maybe in the time I didn't realize it, but listening to it now and thinking back and all the facts and all that shit, it's an important record. And I mean, for you especially, right?
Yes, for me, it's an important record. It taught me Kabbalah.
Where's that little red string?
I know, it was such a big deal, and it was like
I'm a lot Jewish, and I never heard about that.
Yes, it's like suddenly it was like there was like this, because I've never been religious. I don't have any interest in like church or God or any of that shit. And this was like the first time where you could really think like, oh, you can have some kind of spirituality without it being, not that you'd be into Kabbalah necessarily, but like, it's the first time you kind of heard about Buddhism and some of those teachings and stuff. And like Josh, I think you probably just from talking to you today, like you have some of those ideas, about how to conduct life. You use some of those things.
You have to.
Those are intro to it, and I think it's important,
I mean,
I think people it was an important time for it to come out. Like
it was, and I think, but you know, like we said, Madonna's at the forefront, and Madonna was at the forefront of spirituality for a lot of people that had no direction and no depth into their life. And I bet you, because of this record and because of the stuff Madonna was, you know, I mean, if she only would have had a Twitter and social media back then, was able to really spread it to the masses, how many people she would have made exponentially happier. And she already did from just putting out this record. So, you know, maybe this isn't musically deserving to be on the list, but the depth of what's behind it and how much it impacted culture for her and her fans, I get it. I totally get it.
And it aged well.
Yes. Oh, it aged very well. Listen, you can still listen to this and it still sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Bonnie, anything you want to promote? Go ahead.
I have a podcast with my husband called My Wife Hates Me. And people think it's funny.
It's great. I love your husband. I love Rich. There's nothing better than when I was doing your show at Skankfest and he was like, wrap it up. And he thinks I hate him. And I'm like, no, I don't. I was eating shit. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Doing that though.
That was
trying to like fuck with you a little bit, like to be funny.
Oh, it was great. It was
so
great.
It wasn't a red light thing. Like he was actually just
we were on the stage.
Oh shit.
They're on the Go ahead.
And he was going like he was going like this to him. I was like, stop.
Oh, that's so the audience saw this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's 4 gorgeous female comedians behind me, like all judging my act and then deciding if they want to fuck me or not.
Right. It was would you bang him was the show.
And I had done it before. I did it at Moon Tower and it was great. It was great. But at Skankfest, it was just I was like thrown up immediately. And it's like, dude, anytime. You know who did it right that time? Well, all of the comics, me, Mike Cannon, and Mike Feeney, all kind of had a rough set. And then the only one that really nailed it that time was Che.
Right.
Because he was present and he commented about, which is how we all felt. You know, it's like all you got to do in stand-up is just be in the room and not in your head. As long as you're in the room, you're going to have a great set. Yeah. Even if you eat shit, you can still eat shit with class and grace.
Right.
You know, but yeah.
First of all, I don't mind bombing. I like bombing in the moment. It's only afterwards that I really feel shitty about it. It's like when I'm doing it, it's like, I don't know why. It's almost like cutting yourself or something. It's like, it's fine.
Oh, 100%. I had a show. I had to do a drive-in show at the top of the Andes parking lot in West Hollywood for this benefit. And I've never had more fun eating shit. Like I had to do 25 minutes in front of cars and the only laughter I could hear was from the sound guy and he loved me, but I was so present and so like just enjoying this awkward show and hearing his laughter. I was like, this is one of the most fun shows I've done in months. And it's great. Morty, do you want to promote anything?
Yeah. I am on, as Josh said, he thinks Clubhouse is dead. But, you know, if you happen to be there, I know. So all the Android people came in and I was like, it's like when somebody hands you your phone, it's a green text.
You wanted it to work, dude.
Never.
You wanted it to work so
Give
bad.
Me this phone. Take this phone and go away with it. It was
Once Tim Dillon says it's dead, it's dead, dude. And
I know. I just go there to hear David Wayne play guitar and piano and sing. DJ Morty Coyle on Twitter and there. Go to Instagram, Be and Daddy Cartoons, sing with your kids. And today we did Mike Rosenbaum's band, Sunspin. So give a shout out to Rob Danson and Mike Rosenbaum.
Nice.
And let's give a shout out to Fleece Army member TJG. On Twitter, it's TEAJAYGEE. Another Fleece Army fan who's considerate and always posts our stuff. So blow this episode up, TJG, and tell everybody.
We love you. Bonnie, this was so much fun.
Thank you. I had a blast. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Say hello to everybody in Texas, and I'll see you next week, okay?
Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.